let's talk about the best. The best are our sponsors. So thank you to our sponsors. The vendor village is all torn down. So what I say is like when you're in the market for some, consider them because they paid for like lunch and this event really to happen. Many of us paid to attend, but that's just on top of the whole event wouldn't happen without, especially like wouldn't have the right to give them money for the sponsors. So here's what we're talking about. Okay, I'm Michael Tressler. I'm a senior consultant at Jabra and a Microsoft MVP. And the MVP is primarily around Teams. I worked at Microsoft for 6 years. The last 3 of those were on Teams devices. So also phone and Teams display. Yeah. Knee. So I had a total knee replacement on January 7th. This is my first flight since 7th to get here. I did some long and all the travel begins. So what a smart knee is there is a sensor inside my knee with a battery that collects. And so all of this. And so the sensor inside the knee collects a bunch of data. As best I understand, because they like the nerdy part of the knee, this thing is just not on the internet. There's no owner's manual because you don't install it or update it. It's done. There's no firmware update. But it is supposed to be awake every day for 3 months, then go to sleep until the anniversary of my surgery. So next January 7th, it'll wake up for a week and continue to do that for about 9 or 10 years until the battery dies. And Android. I don't know. No, it only works with our app. It's kind of like a Fitbit in the knee. The way, like the best nerdy part I've been able to figure out is for low power consumption. And I'm going to guess there's a clock on it as well. Like it knows the time of day as well as the date. Is that they tell you put a little box, plug it into the wall, connect it to your Wi-Fi under your bed. And I'm guessing at like from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. it sends supersonic or ultrasonic audio out that receives, converts to internet, and shows up on my app. And this is a web page. No, it just stays. I think it's part of the deal. Trust me, it's bigger. No, mine's bigger. Yeah, just under the knee. What I really wish is like every step you take, couldn't that recharge the battery? Yeah. Whatever. So I've heard nothing but great reviews of all the speakers here. I'm going to be a great speaker because, correct. But what everybody said, the great speakers have been doing live demos, and so I will not be doing live demos. So therefore, I cannot be a great speaker. So I'm just going to be a good one today. But I didn't want to drag a whole MTR in here, both Windows and Android, to show these things. So what you're seeing here is the first new feature we'll talk about. This is production. Is multiple camera view on Teams Rooms Windows. I will try to point out when it's Windows versus Android. You can see in this little corner here, they got these cameras laid out. So we as the using Teams can change the view. So we as the installer install cameras, more up to 4 throughout the space. Teams Rooms Compute, which may or may not have 4 USB ports. Don't ask me if hubs are supported. That's a question for your MTR vendor. And the user can flip through and see what's going on. So here's me at home with 3 cameras, the creeper cam, the high level view, and then just the back of the room. And so you can see I'm picking between the different views on my. I don't know how discoverable this is for end users. Seeing that upper thing on the right, click it. I think there would be a little bit of training. Even if it's a sheet of paper in those rooms where you do put multiple things. Hey, well, it would be for the people. You could, hey, you people at home can switch between camera views. So, like no questions on this, right? This is pretty. Well, you won a prize for asking the first question. So here's a good webcam. So the question is, how do you set it up? When's it coming to Android? I don't. So what you do is you go into the peripheral settings, and then you just pick the new camera, the ones you already have connected. Now, someone posted on an online group that, oh, connect a certified camera to Teams Rooms. The Jabra Panicast 20, which you just got, not a Teams Room certified camera. The other two are. So does this mean they're going to enforce that later? I don't know. I would recommend certified camera over just anything laying around. But in this case, at least for now, a non-Teams Room certified camera, because a Panicast 20 is meant for personal use. You're not going to put it in a conference room anyway. This is just for a test. Yes. No. It does not do multiple cameras. But you get a camera. Get your questions in quick. We're down to 3. So then, yes.
That's what I was thinking.
To give you a luscious head of hair, all this interference, also nioxin. So what happens so this list on the side is the client. So if I'm on a Teams room in a meeting with another Teams rooms that has this, you get to see, the client. If it's Teams rooms, the client can choose the camera. If it's Teams rooms to an Android room or an Android phone, you only see what is defined as the default camera. On Teams Rooms Windows, you can see all 4 cameras, like they're all shown. And on iOS lulz, who cares? Go do whatever they let you do. I don't care. Yes.
And in different conference rooms, you can then control which room you see.
So yes. So on the Teams, I'm trying to do this off memory. Off the Teams Rooms Windows interface, I can select which feed you're getting from the 4 cameras. So I'm in the conference room. I go to like the 3 dots or the arrow. I think it's the drop down next to the camera, and then it lets you pick which camera feed you want to send. Yes. Yeah, which is happening at the very top of this image. The very top, it says default camera. This was one of our demos at our booth, but trust me, it's good. You'll see at the top, it says default video camera is the Panicast 50, and that's going to be the default feed that gets sent out. And when you go back to here, this is the default feed. So when you look back, go forward, this one is the default, and then those 2 are the other ones. Oh, sorry, no questions. I want to get through this material and I don't want to mess it up. Yeah, exactly. I should have started with that. Start recording from MTR. So this is something that I think Skype Room System had back in the day, or Link Room System. One of those old ones had, and then it got removed. Then now it's back. So I'm going to go back. What is this? What are we looking at? Oh, so we can hit, we're joining a meeting. And then I think I'm showing on, and this is on a Surface Hub. So you can see the control panel and the server side all at the same time. So hit the 3 dots, start recording. And then a message pops up saying, invite yourself to this meeting, because where am I saving this recording? Well, no, like, whose OneDrive? So, yeah, but I just walked up and hit meet now. So no one organized this meeting. The Surface Hub itself is the meeting organizer. So what then happens is I invite myself in. And this is now my laptop. So we've now switched to the Teams client side. And now that I'm joined in, I will own the recording. So I can then share the recording out. Yes, correct. So that's the one, there's always, so the reason recording never happened is because otherwise it would go to the resource account. No end user has access to the resource account. Administrators would have to do that. And the resource account OneDrive or whatever could fill up. And now you've got somebody's job all day sharing files out to meeting attendees. So that was always the problem with starting a recording on Teams Rooms. So this is how they've worked around it. You can start an ad hoc meeting. Now, any other meeting that you schedule, the organizer gets a recording. But in this case, there is no organizer. Well, yeah. Now, theoretically, if you're clicking Meet Now, there's going to be a remote person that you can invite somehow, and they could start the recording. Unless you just are using it as a mirror. Correct. Correct. It's got to be an in-tenant. Yes. But it's been a missing feature for a long time, because almost all of us, even if you don't walk in with your laptop, you can have your phone. I'm like, fine, invite me, join the meeting, and then leave the meeting. An example being, we're just going to meet in the conference room. We want to record our meeting. This isn't really a Teams meeting, but we just want to record the conversation that we're having. And then, transcript it, push through Copilot, whatever. Here's what it looks like after the meeting is over. I'm trying to remember what these views are. I think this one is now inside the Teams client. I go to chat, meeting with Surface Hub, and I can find it. And I believe this one was after the meeting was over. Like before I closed to leave the meeting, I had a shot to recording upload failed because my OneDrive isn't set up because it's the demo tenant. So extra bonus, I have 20 days to download it before Microsoft just throws it away. But if you close this out, don't do anything, you can still find that ad hoc meeting recording, because ad hoc meetings aren't in your calendar. If you didn't chat, there was no activity. So how do you find it? It does throw it into the chat for you to then go back to your desk and download the recording or move it or share it or whatever. No live demos, but these slides and videos are pretty good, right? This is the first CommsV Next, they're all right. This is the first CommsV Next one I've ever done not on an airplane. I actually planned for this one. I had to do work. Digital signage. This got rolled out about 3 months ago. There's partners. Well, I don't know what the slide says. We'll see how we set this up. Zogo and AppSpace are the two supported digital signage partners, as well as URL. I have neither Zogo or AppSpace, so I'm showing how to do URL. URL meaning it's configurable, but when the MTR, air quotes, goes to sleep, what should I show on the screen? I have chosen to show the CommsV Next web page, which means for the last 10 days, I've seen the countdown going, how many days until CommsV Next? It's been on this hub next to me the whole time. But I'll just walk through it super quickly. This is done in the Pro Management portal. By the way, by the end of June, everything is out of Teams Admin Center for Windows and will be in Pro Management portal. So if your first thought I need to train myself, go Pro Management portal first, as opposed to Teams Admin Center first going, damn it, it's not there, then Pro Management portal. Now Android is different. It's staying in Teams Admin Center for an indeterminate amount of time, but Windows has a hard cutoff date. Please hold. So anyway, you create the digital signage, you set it up and then assign it to which room is going to get it. So I took the CommsV Next. Here's where you have some settings. The only downside with GIFs is you can't pause them. Is the Show Teams Rooms banner. So do you want to see the clock and time and next meeting overlaid over the top of the digital signage? Or do you want it to be empty? How long until the screen goes idle? There's some basic settings that you can set for the digital signage or when the URL pops up. This is Windows only right now. I think it's on the roadmap now for Android. I think they've added it to the roadmap. There's that apply now or apply during maintenance window. Apply now means if there's no meeting going on, it will push the Skype setting XML down automatically and restart the Teams Rooms client and ingest the Skype settings right away, as opposed to waiting till 2 a.m. for the nightly reboot. This is very different than background. This is just when no meeting's going on. So do you want to, usually in a company, you're not going to show CommsV Next. You're going to be like the homepage or upcoming news or whatever. Now, if you have AppSpace and those involved, you then get into alerting, emergency alerts can pop up and you can push things like that. This one is just URL. Terry, do you want the backpack? This was the one given away at Ignite, and I had it for 6 months. I decided I'm not using it. Uh-huh. So I've done a terrible job repeating the questions that have been asked, even though I was told to do that. The question is, what does this do with if the monitor goes to sleep or resolution changes? Like if this changes the resolution. Teams rooms can often go wonky. It does not change the resolution. So yay. So this will run at the same resolution as what Teams is running at. Screen timeouts are a whole long different world, which can be controlled in several ways, usually on the TV or the monitor itself, or with EDID minders. Or I just read, and I don't know if this is true, I know Zoom Rooms sends a black signal, so the screen is always on. Someone just posted online that Teams does the same. Is that true, that Teams is now sending a black signal? So that helps solve the screen going dead. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the Teams Rooms Windows devices don't support CEC, but they do the HDMI wake, like for a computer monitor. That's why computer monitors always wake up, because it's not using CEC. There's no standard? Yeah, it's like SIP. SIP is a standard, but why can't Microsoft SIP talk to Cisco SIP? Like, it's all SIP, right? Why can't I take the link client and connect it to call whatever CU? What was Cisco's call thing? CUCM, yeah, why can I do that? Because it's SIP, right? So digital signage. This is what it looks like. So just wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. And what you can see at the top especially are the, is this going to work? Are like, this is the team stuff on top that's being overlaid. Tap to get started. So there was that click option to allow the Teams room stuff to be visible. That's what you're seeing. There's going to be a later slide that shows another overlay down here that was added over the top. But this is essentially what you would see, and then you either hit a button on the controller and the Surface Hub, you tap it, and it goes away and goes immediately back to the home page. Facilitator. This one is super brand new. It's in preview, public preview. So if you take an MTR, flip the switch to say enable public preview, you can have Facilitator today, but it is not generally available yet, which is kind of a good thing, but that's okay. We're here to be positive. So a couple things to make sure that Facilitator is a Teams app. Depending on how locked down your environment is, you need to make sure that the Facilitator app is unblocked, that people can use it. Your organization may be super secure. We block all apps. At that point, unblock Facilitator or move on to the next, or fast forward in the video to the next feature if you're not going to do this. There's also some other policies and things. Check the Learn article for more on what to do. Interestingly, if you know apps in Teams, especially in a Teams meeting, you like hit the 3 dot, more apps, it does not show up there. It's like headless. It just doesn't appear. It's like strictly a back-end app feature. This is a little overlay that pops up as well. I did not add that. That was just, and it comes and goes. It's not there the whole time. So I would look, if my Service Hub would go to sleep, I'd look, that wasn't there. 5 minutes later, I'd look, it was there. 10 minutes later, I'd look, it was gone. 20 minutes later, I'd look, it was there again. So it's just kind of pulsing, like, and I guess that makes sense. We don't want to, Microsoft doesn't want to block what you may have put for your digital signage at the bottom. So we'll just kind of flash it up for people, and hopefully people walk in. So I'm sure you can all read, but what does it say is let Facilitator take notes for everyone. Scan the QR code on the screen to get it going. This is confusing. Well, that's part of the problem. That's confusion number one. Where is the QR code? The second one is, let's look at this. So what does the mobile client do? I find the QR code, I scan it. And then like, okay, I'm gonna join in or whatever. It's a regular meeting. Now, when I scan it, what happens is it did create, there's not a scheduled meeting. So it created an ad hoc meeting on the fly, created all this, and it brought up, you can leave the meeting. The Facilitator will keep taking notes. Well, you don't have to be connected with your phone anymore. You've scanned it, you've started the meeting. Facilitator's now been fired up, it'll take notes. So scanning the QR code starts an ad hoc meeting, wakes up Facilitator, creates a loop component. Here you go, Ron. Creates a loop component in the person who scanned the QR code in your OneDrive/meetings folder. And that loop component then is what is being written to. So after the meeting, you can go to the loop component, share it with people, add notes, etc. Now, if you saw the phone, it brought up that loop component, and it takes you to that view. It doesn't take you to the Teams client. It takes you to that view. Under the theory, you can now add notes as well. So you and facilitate, this isn't like a read-only. Only facilitator can keep notes. I can add notes. I can add agenda items. I can add a bunch of other things to it, as well as facilitator writing to the same loop component. So this is kind of the mobile experience. I'll let it go one more time. The QR code? OneDrive/meetings/ and then there's loop files that show up there. So this is the loop component that it created. So you as an end user can edit that loop component as you go. The MTR side, there's a facilitator button. Let me go back and point it out. There's a facilitator button at the top. So walk up, tap that, or on your controller on the desk, hit the facilitator button. That brings it up. There's the QR code. That is a QR code I scanned. Now I've scanned it. What does the MTR look like? What is the MTR showing while this is going on? It brings up the loop component for us to see. And I forget where else this goes. We still have the controls at the bottom to turn on video and all the other things, invite other people. We still have all those features. Is that about what it shows? And there's nothing else in the meeting. No one has video on, no one's sharing. So on the stage, this would be the right thing to show. What's that QR code in the upper left? Why wouldn't I scan that QR code? I told you, scan the QR code. Which QR code? This is confusing. Oops, I scanned the wrong QR code. I scanned the one in the upper left. Crap, I didn't hit the facilitator button. What it did is this is the join screen, turn on facilitator. Why is there a facilitator button if I can just do it here with one QR code? Why are we bringing two QR codes into the fight when I can just do this? Millennials was the answer. Again, I'm signing in with my mobile phone, so it's using my account since I'm the one kicking off the ad hoc meeting. Yep, it's the same thing you saw in the previous one, the MTR. It's just a different way to get the facilitator started. So one way to start the facilitator is walk up and hit that facilitator button, then scan the QR code. The other way is just scan the QR code in the upper left that's always there. So are you really going to train your employees to click this facilitator button? Nope. Scan the QR code. Hey, there's a new feature. Now there's a facilitator option. Watch this 3-minute video on how it improves your meetings. Go have fun. Enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah, the problem is the QR code changes. Yeah. Oh, their own company QR code for the training? Yeah. Add more. So there are two ways to get into facilitator. One is theoretically less buttons to push in that you touch facilitator, scan the QR code, and off you go. The other one, you just scan the QR code, which is 2 touch points, facilitator, scan QR code. The other one is 2 touch points, scan QR code, and tap on, turn on facilitator. And then both start up an ad hoc meeting and add the facilitator. So don't ask me why there are 2. Hit the question mark on your team's rooms and leave feedback and say this facilitator button is confusing. Well, not on an ad hoc meeting because it doesn't know the length, but on a scheduled one it would. It would do all that prompting that there's 10 minutes left and all that. Wow, you guys have 35 more minutes with me. Hopefully I get through this fast, right? Oh, output, here it is. So in a Teams client, oh, sorry, this is a Loop client. No, this is Teams, Loop within Teams. Is this Teams or is this Loop? This looks like Loop. There are the notes that it took. Facilitator today can take up to 5 minutes after you've spoken about the things before it puts it into the loop. So transcripts are kind of real time. Slightly close to real time, you can use Copilot and ask questions like, hey, what was that last question? Or what did Bob talk about a minute ago? Facilitator is like, probably show up in about 5 minutes. Don't ask me why. It's version 1.0. So there are. I had a meeting with a coworker in Holland. Sorry, not Holland, Netherlands, and those are the notes that were taken. I do not apparently have a screenshot of where I found this, but again, OneDrive/meeting/ forget if it's the name of the meeting and the time or just a date and time .loop. Let's say on the top, discussions with AI generated notes in. Express install for Teams rooms. So this was announced at Ignite, I think. Maybe Express install. So this is my house, by the way. That's my Express install. I didn't know it was an Express install when I put it together because I did it before they announced Express installs, just because I wanted a Salamander Acadia stand. And we Java partners with Salamander. And they're like, here, have one. Make sure you promote it. Here I am at CommsVNext promoting the wonderful Salamander Acadia stand. It slices, it dices, it juliennes. It does none of that. So what the idea of Express install is, and Ilya Bookstein, the leader of Teams Rooms and many other things at Microsoft, essentially is, and he's not the only one to know this, if you've done installs, often the biggest expense is labor. So you can get a Teams Rooms on Android for $3 or $4 grand. But then we've got to drill holes in the wall. We got to run cables under the thing. Just, even if you don't need to or whatever. And there's labor and union charges and all these things, right? It's not a bad thing. It's just a reality we live in, right? What if we can get that cost from $3 to $4 grand, from like 10 grand or 8 grand down to like 5 grand? And we save, which means then you can buy more Teams licenses because it's less expensive. You can outfit more rooms. The real dream is we now have more usable conference rooms. Not Microsoft makes more MTR license fees. Win-win. Why can't we all both be happy? So, quick installation. The idea is that in an hour or less, you can have this set up. That does not include creating your resource account, signing in, updating the device, whatever. Just, can you have the equipment mounted in an hour? So now the labor you're paying for is on 1 hour of labor versus 3 hours. We're not drilling holes in walls and whatever. So that's one. No custom room modifications necessary. We're not drilling holes in walls is essentially what that one means. We're not mounting a TV on a thing. We're not mounting a camera on the wall. We're not cutting holes on the wall so you don't see the cables from the TV to the camera and to the speakers and microphones. So we're getting rid of all that. Suitable devices. So this is not meant for large rooms. This is meant for small and medium-sized rooms. Large rooms, you're going to put things in the ceiling. There is no Express install. Pay your installers. Pay your AVI people, pay them the money they deserve because they're designing complex spaces. So big rooms or even complex medium-sized rooms, depending on the windows, depending on the use case, it may not work. But for small and medium-sized spaces, there are plenty of devices to choose from. The full Teams Rooms experience, so it's not like BYOD, it's not some limited thing. These are all Teams Rooms Android or Teams Rooms Windows. So you're getting the full Teams Rooms experience. Scale up meeting rooms fast at lower cost, already talked about. In an hour, you can have everything mounted. And so this thing here on the side, this Acadia, Salamander Acadia, nothing is mounted, nothing is drilled. There are no holes drilled anywhere except for my internet and everything is in this cabinet, and there's just a grommet hole on the side to get the cables over to the device. So there's technically a grommet hole. You may or may not need that. Again, this is not an office per se. This is my home. There's a cabinet in the back of my bedroom. And so technically, in my case, there would be drilling needed. Express install, let's see, I don't know. So it's basically all in one. The cool thing is essentially coming off the back of the stand are 2 cables, power and Ethernet. So what I can do and have done, unplug the power, unplug the Ethernet, preferably remove the TV. But if not, pick the whole thing up, walk it to another room, plug it down, plug in power, plug in Ethernet. You have now just made a whole separate space, Teams Rooms capable. Maybe you're renovating the other space or whatever. Quick move. You don't have to sit there and go, now we have to do more drilling and more whatever. You can just move these quickly. And on that Salamander Acadia specifically, and let me pimp another Java partner, that LG display was super easy to take on and off based on the quick release that is on the Salamander Acadia stand. So, any questions about Express installs? Sure. I don't know if there's a limit on that. Is the marketing single display? All right, then single display. Theoretically, you could do dual display, but it's certainly going to get you like it's going to be a much bigger stand. It might take more than an hour. Be a lot heavier. On dual? Well, unless there's like some stand that is built for it, but correct, because it's going to take more than an hour to mount the two TVs. Plus, it's going to weigh 1,000,000 pounds because the base has to support the weight. Anyway, that's Express install for Teams rooms. That's some new hotness. Plus, doesn't that look cool? Also, Wax Trax Records. Let's go. The Surface Hub is back, baby. Microsoft nerfed the Surface Hub and ruined it, and I can't run apps anymore. I can't watch TV. I can't do HDMI ingest. Boo! I want to be able to run apps. I want to be able to mirrorcast. Boom! Guess what? Thank you, Microsoft. Coming back. Not yet. It's not in tap. These are slides I've stolen from Microsoft because I don't have this yet, and no one really does outside of engineering. But coming in the next few months is the ability to walk up to your what do they call them now? Windows boards. Do I have a thing? Surface for Microsoft Edge is coming to the Surface Hub again. Teams rooms on Windows-based touch board form factors, which is the new Logitech one, and yeah, Link has one as well. TRW-TBFFs. You got your TRW-TBFF along with the Surface Hub. You'll be able to do this on the TRW-TBFFs. When you walk up and hit Edge, this opens Edge in kiosk mode, meaning there's no history left. There are no cookies come down, but then are all deleted. You cannot sign in. It's very limited. Why would you want to use this? Reasons. Maybe you could sign in and watch like a TV show directly on it. Maybe. We'll find out when it gets released. But you can run apps again on a Surface Hub. Yeah. As long as you sit there and type in. And now you got to put a keyboard in the conference room. Because nobody's going to touch type, all that stuff, and type in their username and password to get to YouTube TV or whatever to watch something. But it's there. Yay. Go team. The other thing that Surface Hub had, which was really cool, especially at the time with the automatic touchback, was Miracast. So Miracast would basically wirelessly share your screen. You can kind of do that today already with Teams Cast, or you bring in a third-party, Barco, Airtame, etc., Screen Beam, and then you can wirelessly conference. But that gets kind of a little complicated. So this is a first-party solution. You just hit Windows K and go. It creates a Wi-Fi direct, so basically a peer-to-peer Wi-Fi network between the laptop and the Surface Hub, or the TRWW, where is it? Oh, it's on a different slide. The TRW TFF? Something like that? The between your Surface Hub or TRW TFF, you can now wirelessly cast. This does not stop the use of Teams Cast or those Barcos and Airtames and Screen Beams, etc., because this is only on Surface Hubs and those other Windows-based form factors. WBFF, TRWBFF. Teams Rooms Windows-based form factor. So Microsoft had this on the OG Surface Hub for years. It can be problematic because you're spinning up Wi-Fi and there's already Wi-Fi. And back in the day when IT departments and the technology, not to blame IT necessarily, technology wasn't great at beamforming and steering and all that, that they came up with a thing called Miracast over infrastructure. So the Surface Hub and the client has to support it as well. So instead of creating a Wi-Fi connection between the two, the laptop uses Wi-Fi, the Surface Hub uses the structured cabling, and then they meet at the switch. So now only half of the traffic is using Wi-Fi. That, I believe, is coming to this as well, but TBD, we don't have it. If you've never hit Windows K on a Windows machine, it brings up a list. This is a Crestron Air Media. It is not a Surface Hub. That's what we're saying. I don't know what it's going to say here. Probably the machine name of the Surface Hub or the other TRWBFF. Best friends forever, right? Windows TRW. But anyway, you would click on that where it says display. Then your laptop screen will be mirrored to the Surface Hub or BFF. WBFF. So facial recognition is already out in limited use, just because few cameras currently support it. And it requires use of multi-stream and teleframe, which also very few cameras support. What people recognition is that it shows, so you have a view in the bottom. People are in a conference room. You don't know who they are. Like, okay, some of you know Ollie, as you should. Who are these other people at the bottom? Okay, we can tell there's Lauren. How do you know that's Lauren? Her name popped up. She has not joined the meeting. She is not one of the squares on the side. So it'd be awesome to join a meeting and see the names of the people in the conference room, just like you see the name of the remote attendees. That is people recognition. What you're seeing here is the multi-stream and teleframe version of this. This was the first one to support people recognition. And do I have a slide of cloud? No, I don't. There's another, so this one, multi-stream and teleframe, the camera on the edge sends multiple video feeds to Microsoft. The camera on the edge takes pictures of the people in the room, sends it to Microsoft. And then Microsoft matches the pictures sent by the camera to the pictures you took using the Teams client before you join the meeting. There's a high probability that the picture we send matches the faces in the meeting. The name pops up. Really cool. Cloud and teleframe kind of does the same thing where it takes all the faces in the conference room and blows them up into their own little squares, except you lose that view on the bottom. And then the cloud and teleframe itself takes just this feed here, it takes this whole feed here, crops in on Ollie, and then says, has Ollie already taken pictures via the Teams client? If so, there's a high probability this is Ollie, put his name on. So this is coming to cloud and teleframe, which is a single stream version. We have a whole different discussion between multi-stream and single stream cloud and teleframe. This is about people recognition. So that is coming, which is really cool. Let me back up real quick. So if you go into the Teams client, hit the three dots, and go to settings, there at the bottom, there's a recognition thing. If your IT staff has done their magic, created the right meeting policies and given the right permissions, you'll then be able to record your face. So you take like 8, I forget if it's 8 or 9 selfies. So the Teams client walks you through it. It's like, look forward, look to the upper right, look bottom left, etc. Gets a bunch of views of your face. In the same area, you can click record my voice, and it asks you to read a paragraph. You read the paragraph. It's now made a biometric voice print of you. So biometric voice print should immediately be a trigger. Privacy issues, security issues, not legal in some countries or jurisdictions. So, oh man, Microsoft has now enabled that by default. You do not need to create the magic meeting policies anymore. It is now the cloud Teams AI policy. Teams Cloud AI policy, something like that is the new policy. So it's on by default. If you did not know that your company could gather biometric data by default, you may want to read my blog articles at flinchbot.com, which explains this in details how to turn that off. Ultimately, the user has to go through the steps, but some users will do it even if your legal department doesn't want them to do that. Users will be users. Fortunately, I've heard a stat from Microsoft that only 10% of people ever hit on the three dots and go to settings. So what percentage of that will click on recognition? What percentage of that goes down? Few, but if one person does it and collecting biometrics is not allowed in your organization or country, that could be a problem. So we have the faces, so we can do facial recognition. We have the voices, so we can do the horribly named intelligent speaker. So what intelligent speaker means is that in the transcript that's going on the side, when you're in a conference room, there's one microphone and it's signed in as the conference room. So all the words that are said are attributed to the conference room, not the people in the conference room. Which means when you run Copilot at the end, it'll say conference room A agrees to have the report by Thursday. Conference room A will bring the donuts. Conference room A will drive the kids to the Little League. Conference room, the conference room is doing none of that. But the conference room doesn't know who the voices are in the space. So if we did our thing and we did our policies and whatever and recorded our voices, we turn on a feature called Intelligent Speaker. Uh-oh, I just got shocked and everything went away. The back? I mean, I seriously felt a shock right here and the screen went black. I'm like, uh-oh, am I dying? Is this a moment? It just went black. It's the knee. So if you can see in the upper right from the back, it's hard to see. It says Adi Kapoor Conferum Pal, whatever. Serena Rubiero, Conferum P, Addie Cooper. So these are the people inside the conference room. Their voices are recognized. So now when we ask Copilot or the Intelligent Meeting Recap does its thing, it'll be Adi Kapoor agreed to have the report ready by Thursday, and Serena Ribeiro is bringing the donuts, as opposed to the conference room. So super useful, especially when you get to assigning the tasks. Who agreed to have the report, and if you better bring the donuts. If you saw my LinkedIn post, this is the slide. You'll know what that means. And this chick doesn't bug me, but she is in a lot of Microsoft marketing things. And if you watch, she always has her hand cute under her head. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Always. Her whole thing. She'll sit there and occasionally she'll change, look a different direction, put her other hand under. It's like, what is this look? Like, what is this? I don't get it. So she did not get edited out of the slide, but I did have to point out that, come on. It's her blue steel, correct. That is her blue steel. Crystal McKinney. Blue steel. This is coming. This is not there yet. So this is coming soon to your Android devices. This is cool. Android devices currently can change the camera mode. So if you look in the upper right, and I guess for people on the video, let's point your eyes to this way, upper right. If enhanced framing, right now by default, enhanced framing, you either turn it on or off. If it's on, you can change between, I forget the different views, the people view, the active speaker view, or the the intelligent framing view, or whatever Microsoft generically calls it, because we vendors all pick our own names because we don't want to standardize for no reason. But if you turn that off, what Microsoft is adding is pan-tilt zoom control, so that you can then control the camera. And this is done in the conference room. This is not done by remote people who are just going to mess with your camera. So on the conference room, if you do want to zoom in on a certain section of the room, you can now manually do that, as opposed to somebody, hey, stand there and talk, so that, it's zoomed in on you, but we would need to see this whole space. There's no real way to do that other than turn it off. And then other people have to pinch and zoom to try to find that area. So pretty cool addition coming soon. And the setting will be on by default, because why not? Okay. Not natively. The closest is you could have somebody controlling, which camera people see in Teams rooms. Otherwise, you need to take a whole separate camera production facility and then feed that feed into the Teams rooms. So it'd be external to Teams rooms on Windows. Like you'd have a production studio, and then you would take a Magewell card, convert it to an HDMI ingest or whatever to make it look like a video feed. It is complicated. Actually, it'd be probably a USB feed into the Teams Rooms Windows. Then you would take that USB feed and set it as the default camera. Why are you smart? Okay, a live event would be the other way. So a non-standard Teams Rooms meeting, but a live event does allow a producer role, and that producer can change it between different video feeds that come in. So both the video feeds of the humans, we could also send in a video feed showing the entire conference room or other things using live events. Yeah, but thank you. It didn't cross my mind. So if I had a prize to give. Yeah, do you need a backpack? Do you guys not want jobber gear? It is. Pro Management Portal is growing up. I think I already hashtag spoiler alerted this one. June 1st, 2025. Beginning of June, not end of June. Teams Rooms on Windows devices will not be available in Teams Admin Center. So that does not mean Android, which includes phones and displays and panels, but I have been told in strict confidence that is coming. But I'm not going to give the date that I've been told in strict confidence, because obviously it's coming. They're not going to bifurcate between Android Center and Pro Management Portal between Windows and Android. So that's not a leak. That's just like obvious. And then to support this, if you saw the announcement that, hey, standard licenses and the legacy standard and pro licenses are going to PMP, and everybody's like, why? This is why. So we need to make sure those people who still have enterprise agreements where their standard and pro licenses are still 100% valid are allowed to now sign into the Pro portal. They were not allowed to before. That was like a hook to try to get them to upgrade to the premium license. It worked for you? Essentially, they'll die off when they expire. Correct. At some point, your next EA, they're like, you can't renew them anymore. You're there. Oh, in the back, you said Skype settings XML coming to Pro Management Portal. Here it is. This came fairly recently, maybe about a month ago. Is you can go to a room, and I'm just going to change the background. Maybe turn on coordinated meetings or something. I don't know. I think I was just clicking through so you could see some of the settings. I think this is just demo view of the things in here. But now you can go to Pro Management Portal, make the settings, click apply, and then ask if you want to apply immediately or during the maintenance window. So if no meeting is going on, it'll do it like within a minute or two. It's fairly quick. Terry. This was Camtasia, and I clicked the button to make the mouse pointer noticeable or something. Yeah. By the way, also, thank you to Camtasia. Well, they're not a sponsor. I have a free copy of Camtasia. Thanks to them supporting Microsoft MVP community. When you're looking for the best in screen capture technology, Camtasia. Hashtag no advertising. This is a... Anyway, so I think you get the idea. Is you can now go here, which I actually have been doing as well, because it also exposes some things that aren't directly on the console. So there, you have access to some features, so you don't have to handcraft your Skype settings XML as often as you had before. So cool feature. Yeah. Well, that's the one that, yeah. Well, on all my MTRs, I always save a shortcut to that local Skype local whatever folder. I just have a shortcut. And then on my desktop, I have a Skype settings XML, so I edit that, copy it into that folder, then reboot. But yeah, it saves. I mean, all those are not hard. Those are all just little steps that this gets rid of. Not to mention the remote desktop in the first place, which PMP has remoting. But again, then you got to hit the 3 dots and you type in the admin password. Then you got to get to the desktop. So, oh, that's it. Questions. You guys have asked a lot of questions. I still have 12 minutes, so you're out of here early. Now. Question for the remote people. The question was, when does the bar open? You're a remote person, so just go to the fridge. Anything else? Thoughts? Things coming through? I mean, I do have some contact with some of the product managers still at Microsoft, so I can give feedback. Nope. All right. Well, then, thank you, everyone. You have one more session left, and then end of a great Comms V Next. Thanks.